Hi, wait. Hi. I fucked it already. Okay. Hi, I'm Rachel Chinouriri, and you're listening to Main Podcast. No, fuck that. One more time.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Rachel Chinouriri, and you're listening to Main Podcast. So much pressure.
Hey, welcome to Main Pod Girl, a podcast made by Popheads for Popheads. Every episode, we'll be diving into all kinds of pop culture topics with some of our favorite artists and music commentators. I'm your host, AJ Marks. I'm so excited for today's special guest. She's a native from London with several viral songs to her name. After opening up for Lewis Capaldi, Louis Tomlinson, and Remi Wolf, she's quickly become a Popheads favorite. I personally think that she is one of the artists to look out for this year, as her debut album, What a Devastating Turn of Events, comes out this Friday, May 3rd. Let's give it up for Rachel Chinouriri. So let's start off with what we're listening to. Rachel, do you want to go first?
I've been listening to Runo Plum, a lot of Runo Plum, and I think she's incredible, and she's like the soundtrack to my life. It's Runo, and then the surname is Plum. And I would recommend Till I Go Red or Creek or Flip Your Pillow. But my favorite is Till I Go Red, and I think she's just phenomenal.
Okay, I've added them both to my playlist. I'm actually from Creek Nation, so I'm going to listen to Creek first.
Ah,
So that's a great new find. My tribe's going to love that. I've been listening to a lot of Shabuzi, a bar song.
did he just become like number one on the Apple charts or something?
Yeah, I think so. Something like top 5 on iTunes or something.
Literally just saw that tweet maybe 45 minutes ago, and I was like, who's this guy?
Right. So it's a play on, you know, the Jay Quan song, Everybody in the Club Getting Tipsy.
Yes,
Well, it's like
yes.
that, but it's like a country version. It's like everybody in the
Mm.
bar is getting tipsy. And he was featured on the Beyonce country album because he's like an upcoming black country artist. And I think she wanted to highlight that. And that's how I first heard of him. That was like a couple months ago.
Ah, okay, right. I've just followed him on Spotify, and yeah, I never knew him before, but I'm intrigued now because now this is the second time I've heard about him.
It's wild that he can take a song that was like made for the hip hop clubs and take it and put it in a completely new context and make it like a
Hmm.
perfect like hoedown like line dance song.
I know now I'm like I have to listen to that now because I love Tipsy, like the original I love. So I'm ready to hear this at the bar.
Yeah. Let's get into your music though. My introduction to your music was 2 years ago. I saw you open up for Remi Wolf at Coco in Camden.
No way.
Yes. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I love
I
her.
loved that show. You killed it.
Oh, thank you.
And that turned me into a fan. I was like, hell yeah. Like I would listen to your music leading up to it because I was like, who is this? I gotta like, get to educate
Hmm.
myself before the show. But I was like, okay, sticking around here. I love this.
Ah, thank you.
What's the best part and worst part about touring for you?
Well, the first thing is I hate traveling, so that's not good for me. I also am terrified of aeroplanes, and I hate living out of a suitcase, and I hate change. So basically, I hate tour. However, the thing that makes it satisfying is meeting the fans, because I think people think, oh my God, you get to travel and see the world, and it's like, well, if you're in a van, you're usually driving for 6, 7 hours, eating pretty shit food from service stations and then in a hotel and then the venue and then you leave. And
Exactly.
even though my band get to sometimes go around, most of the time before show I'm prepping doing stuff or I'm doing interviews for stuff or I'm doing other stuff. So you don't actually get to really see that much unless you're given like an extra day in between. So I think that's the thing that I really struggle with or did struggle with, which I'm now starting this year. I was like, I have to learn to like that because it's not going to change. So this year I've been a lot better actually. But I think the thing which makes it is actually meeting the fans, which is difficult because my singing teacher will be like, you can't hug them or you get ill and you can't do this or you get, which is true because you don't want to get ill on the first day of tour, then you have to cancel. But I don't know. I just love chatting to them. I feel like they're my friends and meeting them and the energy and they're always bringing me like gifts and I talk to a lot of them on Twitter or Instagram DM. So then when I see them in person, I'm like, ah, it's you. Yes.
Putting a name to a face.
Exactly. So I think that that makes it like worthwhile because I always know that when I arrive, it's just going to be a group of people who are like, "We love you." I wouldn't trade that for the world.
Aw, I love that. That's so sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's really cute. So the Remy tour was nice.
Loved the Remy tour. She was working hard, so I was like, I can't even complain. I don't know what was going on, but there was like times where she would get the train and would be on like all on the same train. And they had so much equipment, and traveling with equipment is just so fucking long. It's like
Takes forever, yeah.
just long. I did the Europe tour with her, so to do that all in a different country is just so mad. But she just smashed it. I don't know how she sings like that every night and is completely fine.
I mean, I think at the show that I saw her, she actually lost her voice.
She like lost her voice, but then will still sing 10 times louder than I'm able to sing. And then she had like a chair because she'd like injured herself. But that chair she was barely sitting on. And I was like, girl, you're about to cause some serious injury here, but she didn't give a
Literally.
fuck.
Seeing a show when an artist has lost their voice, you would think that that wouldn't be a very good experience. I had so much fun. I did not regret
Hmm.
it because I got to see Remy push through, and I got to see her kind of restrain and like be careful with her voice too, and then
Hmm.
save it all up for Liz, which is a song that
Yeah.
I really wanted to hear her belt. So I'm glad she saved it for that song
Hmm.
and then tucked it back in again. Like she really did the show justice.
And it's also the support of like the fans. I think when you're feeling down or sick and stuff, having the fans help you sing it through or just feeling the love from the crowd. Because I've never seen an artist who fucks up singing and then the crowd are like, boo. It's always like, come on, you've got this. And it really does
Mm,
like help. So,
yeah.
so yeah, she smashed it. And being away from home, jet lag, like, I do not know how she did it.
Also going from different climates. Like I went from
Hmm.
a hurricane in Florida, like we had to delay our flight,
Oh, damn.
and I had a show the next day. So I was like panicking, right? And then
Yeah.
I finally get there in time, but it's a blizzard in Boston. And so I'm performing at the House of Blues in Boston, which is like I think the biggest nightclub in the country, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is a huge fucking show. Like I don't have a voice."
That is mad.
Sound check was terrible, right? But then the adrenaline from going on stage
Yeah.
instantly, vocally, maybe one of my best shows.
Adrenaline does a lot.
Yeah, how does your body do it? Like, I have no idea.
I don't know. Adrenaline does a lot. The climate change does a lot, but also I've seen many artists fall down the mistake of, I think there's a degree of lifestyle versus reality.
Mm,
And I think sometimes as a musician, like I get a lot of free stuff. I get taken lots of places. And, there's a lot of people being like, oh my God, you're so great, which is great when it's reality. Like I think a sheer appreciation of musicians is brilliant. But when it starts affecting lifestyle, like for example, when me and my friends go out and then I might meet people who are like, oh my gosh, you're this musician. Let's go and get drunk until 5 in the morning. I'm like, I could. However, I need to be up at 9 tomorrow to do this and that and that. And I could do those things hungover, but I've now just started to realize that for me to function, I've had to find my routine, and my routine is waking up at 6, going to the gym, drinking a gallon of water, eating unprocessed foods, which is a privilege to even be able to do because it's a very expensive
yeah.
way of living to be able to have access to that. But I'm like, in return, it means that I don't get as ill as much and I perform better and I perform better on stage. And when I meet fans, it then means I can have the ability to then go and meet fans so that even if they're sick, I can trust my own immune system to be well enough to continue and things like that. So I guess it's just habit and routine that I've had to alter and change because if I wasn't as fit as I am now, which last year I wasn't, I got ill so many times. I got meningitis before. Now I'm hyper fit. I'm able to handle tour a lot more, and it helps get rid of the anxiety of tour, especially.
You have opened up for like Lewis Capaldi and Louis
Yeah.
Tomlinson. Like, what was the
Hmm.
biggest difference between those two tours?
I think Lewis Capaldi's fans are a lot calmer. I think Louis Tomlinson's fans are really like wild, and I actually think I love every part of it in different ways. Like Lewis Capaldi's fans are obviously there for the more sentimental music, but both fan bases are just as funny, but in very different ways. I think the Louis Tomlinson fans just absolutely worship the ground that he walks on. He's also got a massive LGBTQ, massively diverse crowd, but they're all super young, is what I felt at Louis Tomlinson. But I think Lewis Capaldi's crowd felt diverse in the sense of age. Like there was loads of different ages, lots of different people, lots of different kind of couples. But the energy that they would give as the main act would come out is just electrifying. It's kind of insane to see someone walk out to such a reception. So yeah, they were both beautiful in many different ways.
And the research for this episode, I did watch the drunken video you sent. Lewis Capaldi suggesting that
Yeah.
you open for him. It's hilarious because like we've all been there. Like it actually made me feel like I was out in London with my friends again, like just after a night out. Like it was so picturesque. Did you end up asking him about that video later? Like did you find out if
I
that
did.
what's the story there?
Yeah, I would message and he would never reply, but he would always see it, and then he would always watch my stories, and I was like, this is terrible. Like I've absolutely royally fucked it here. And then my team was suggesting we should go to Lewis Capaldi, and I was like, I'm not gonna tell them what I've done yet because I don't want to fuck this up at all. And then when I saw him on the tour, because I've got the tour, then I announced it, and then I put the thread up. And then he shared the thread. So I was like, okay, well, he did see the video, and maybe it's not a coincidence that my team tried to get me on that tour. Then when I saw him, I was like, did you see that video straight away? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, but he didn't reply. He was like, yeah, because I thought it would be better to let you find out when you came on tour. And I was like, fair enough.
Oh, I love
Fair enough.
that.
Yeah, he's so funny, like just outrageously funny.
That's so sweet. Clearly, London and the UK as a country is very important to your identity and your music, as it is to myself.
Hmm.
You grew up in London, moved to LA, and then moved back to London and wrote The Hills. Is that correct?
I didn't move, but I stayed in LA for 5 weeks. It felt like I was
Yeah.
there for a fucking lifetime, honestly. It was
5 weeks. 5 weeks
too-
will do it to you.
5 weeks, basically new sessions every day, and like, oh God, it was a time.
London and LA like have completely different ways of writing and like just
I'm
approaching
glad I'm
songwriting.
speaking to someone who is from America but understands what London is like, because I'm
Hmm.
sure you can understand how different the vibes are. And I think I was underprepared. I thought me just being English would be enough to get through. Then I realized just because we speak the same language, the culture is completely, completely different. I was probably naive to some extent. And God, it was difficult, but I think it was more difficult because I personally wasn't in a good space and I already didn't like traveling. So I think it was less slack for LA because I went to LA this year and I loved it because I got to sunbathe on the roof. But beyond that, I think the time I went, I was struggling, but then I was like, wow, the people are so different, and I felt really almost uncomfortable, and I hadn't felt like that in a long time. So yeah. But I mean, I got the hills out of it, so I can't complain.
Going back to the sunbathing part, it's so funny because when I moved to Liverpool for the first time, I remember anytime there was like an ounce of sun or it was like above a certain degree, every single person was outside, like just like every patch of grass had a person or a picnic blanket on it.
Yeah.
And I found that so funny because I was like, oh, this is just starting to become springtime for me. Like that would be like a day where people would be like, oh, maybe I'll go outside kind of thing. But like it was like not an option. Like I had 5 housemates and they were like, we're going out.
Because it's limited time. It's like that might be the only sun we get for the entire summer. Like you don't know with this country. I remember the pandemic, it was so hot and we were stuck inside. It was so annoying. Then the next
Yes.
year, like the whole summer was just raining basically the entire time. And I was like, cool. Basically had no sunshine. So yeah, as soon as you hit about 21 degrees and if it's blue skies, everyone's outside, no jackets, having a grand time.
Do you remember that like heat wave in 2019 that we had?
Oh,
That was a week of my graduation.
no
And my
way.
family was visiting. They were like, "Oh my god, don't they have any AC in this place?" Like I thought the UK didn't get hot.
The UK is hell in the summertime. I don't understand. And also, it will be hot, and then we're also still not prepared. But also, when it's cold, it affects the trains.
Yep.
So the cold affects the trains, and everything else affects the trains. Then the snow affects the trains, but then the heat also affects the
You get this much snow and you don't know what to do with it.
yeah. It's like we get that much snow and then everything's cancelled, and then it's too hot, and then it's like weather warning, stay inside. It's like, well, I can't stay inside because my house has carpet and we've got double insulation with no fans, and the fans are circulating hot air. It's like it's just this
Oh
country's so
man.
underprepared.
In Boston, if I get 5 feet of snow overnight, when I was a kid, I would like wait up to see if school was canceled. Like we
Yeah.
actually we actually had to be like, is it going to be? This school is, this school isn't. Like they had that
hmm
little ticker at the bottom. Oh man. So you said you recorded this album in Liverpool?
I did all the executive producing with Rich Turvey in Liverpool. So we got all the songs, and then we spent 5 weeks in Liverpool.
What studio was it? Studio 2?
It was Kempton Street Studios.
Oh, I haven't been there.
Yeah, it's in, they just built it. It used to be Parr Street.
Oh. Oh, so I have been there.
They've now bought a different building, and it's now Kempton Street Studios.
Oh wow. That's where Coldplay did their albums, right?
Coldplay did their, I think, first two albums at Parr Street, and they've still got the plaques. Kempston Street is like up and coming road. I think it was getting on the edgy side, and I think they just managed to get a big space. But now the Coldplay Studios, they took us back to Parr Street. And I think they've knocked it down and turned it into a car park. And I'm like, well, there was history made here, so why on earth has that happened?
I think Justin Bieber also recorded there. Like, why would you
Yeah,
knock that
like
down? Like,
massive people recorded there, and they've knocked it down and turned it into like a car park. So that was annoying.
I mean, we're talking about so many British things. I love how artists like Lily Allen and Mae Muller like really pour their
Mm,
accent into their songs.
yeah,
And like
yeah,
Lily's first album especially speaks to the London experience.
100%.
In what ways do you feel like you assert your Britishness into your music?
I think she definitely inspires me a lot, and I think the way I've asserted it, I mean, number one, I've got England flags going across the artwork, so I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm almost overdoing the Englishness. I'm like, I am England. Like, I think there's a stereotype of people who go around with England flags being like football hooligans who are like massively racist and
Yeah.
stuff, which does exist as well and has caused me a lot of trauma growing up. However, I was like, well, I might as well be like a core blimey sort of Brit for this album.
You're reclaiming it.
I was like, let me reclaim that because I'm sure it will definitely ruffle some feathers, but they can't take my passport, so what can they do? Lily Allen was a massive influence, and Kate Nash and people like that. And I think people aren't surprised that Lily Allen has an English accent because she's white. And even when I'd be in LA, every time I'd talk, people would be like, "Oh, you have a British accent." I don't get it in New York, but in LA, I got it a lot, and I always found that interesting. So I think there's just an element of me just talking how I talk and being who I am, and I am as British as the next person, as any white person raised in the UK. I'm just as British as them, and I think having it in song like it is what it is. Having May, my best friend, talking on voice notes, having Clara Amflo from the radio on there, the soundscapes, I think all those things were just super important. And even the beginning of Garden of Eden, you can hear me talking in it. And I was like, I think this is a point of, I think Black Brits have a culture and I don't think it's explored as much. I feel like I've
Mm.
learned so much, for example, about African American culture, but it's because they put it in their music, their style, their way they dress, their history, their documentaries. And I love being able to know that if I want to learn more about African American culture, there's an array of things I can look into to find it. But I don't think Black Brits have it as much because there's a degree of not being as proud. I think African Americans are and should be proud because they've overcome the worst to have their own identity because it was taken from them. But I don't think Black Brits are to a degree as proud because the history isn't the same of why we are here. Like my parents came here on their own. But then I'm like, the struggles we've gone through, I have a degree of being proud of being a Black Brit and how much culture we've actually put into the culture of music in the UK. And I think it's maybe a starting point in music, like Nia Archives and stuff has started to use like the Union Jack and Pink Pantheress with Garage and all this stuff. Black Brits are starting to really show themselves, and I love Americans discovering that.
Yeah, I feel like when I first moved over to the UK, that was like one of the first things I really noticed was like this rich culture that Black Brits have. The difference in accents too, like, and I just find that fascinating.
As someone who's from Croydon and South, I'm like, there's a degree of, I'm now always around white people because of
Mm.
the industry I'm in, the music I'm in, XYZ. As soon as I'm with my Croydon friends, I start talking my Croydon way. There's just a way and an attitude which it's funny because that the way I talk with people from where my home is from is generally looked at as sometimes as dumb or stupid or illiterate, or people don't really have the time of day, or you see people take the piss out of you. Like we'll have white people who go, yeah, in it, fam, dun, dun," and it's like, cool, you're not even going to give me the time of day because of that. So I'm like, I'm going to be extra well spoken when I do stuff. So almost like the ignorance cuts over some people, and I think being able to do that has helped. It's something my mum taught me from young. She was like, can't talk like you're from Croydon when you're speaking to anyone. You have to tone that down when you're trying to get jobs and stuff like that. So I've always found it interesting. But yeah, Black Brits definitely have a way of being in a culture which I'm always grateful for being around, and they've supported me a bloody lot in being in this industry as well.
So there's this funny thing I noticed on Spotify. The song All I Ever Asked looks like it has an album version. It's like 2 seconds longer than the single version, and it's grayed out on the pre-order. So I didn't know, was there some tweaking that went on?
It is exactly the same. The only difference is it's been remixed.
Oh, okay, nice.
Remixed and remastered because the label wanted it more on the album than I did. And I was like, I don't want it on the album. Now I do want it on the album because now my third eye's been opened actually. And now I hear it all together. I'm like, oh, it does belong on the album. But for me, I couldn't get past how different it sounded. We recorded everything on the same microphone, everything with the same guitars, and replayed everything. And I was like, well, if I can replay it all so that it sounds cohesive, then we can make it work. Because I don't want it to like dip in and out of the sonics. So instead, we just got it remixed or remastered, but it's literally exactly the same.
That's so cool, though. I love that.
Thank you.
That's a lot of attention to detail.
Yeah, it's details which I think my label were confused why I cared so much about, but I was like, no, it's my first album. I want this to be the same. And they're like, okay, fine.
So my favorite song of yours is Never Need Me. What an absolute tune.
Thank you.
Two main things I love about this song are the acoustic version, which like skyrocketed to the top of my list because I'm like a huge sucker for acoustic music. And then the other one is the music video with Florence Pugh.
Yes.
Amazing music video.
Thank you very much. That was a bit nuts, and I still kind of can't really believe that's happened. I've not seen her since, but also she's been non-stop since, and also I have. So it's just been the random replies to stories and random messages to be like, "You all right?" and stuff like that. But yeah, what a time! And also her first music video, and she smashed it. And she still has the dress from the music video. I gave it to her.
Oh, that's cute. I love that.
It will be a cool memory for her first ever music video dress that she gets to keep, and very grateful because she also just did it for free. She was just like, I'll do it. And I was like, cool. Thank you very much.
The video is incredible because you mix so many different aesthetics into your visuals, like both the artwork and the music videos. You blend this like joyous, picturesque nostalgia element with this like home video type of nostalgia, the artwork versus the video. It's like a matter-of-fact journal and a romanticized blockbuster taking turns telling the same story.
Yeah, there's a degree of mixing America and the UK. Like, I think America actually massively influenced a lot of things in the UK as well. As much as British things influenced me, there's like, I grew up on fucking Hannah Montana, American music, Destiny's Child, the music video, even The Hills to a degree. The production of The Hills sounds super American to some degree, but then the video is super British. But then Never Need Me to me has like British-esque elements production wise, but then the music video has like an American element. But it's the way it's all interweaved. It's a bit like, what's that Netflix show? Even though I don't watch TV, the Netflix show of the school kids who are in the UK, but it looks like an American school.
Oh, Sex Education?
Yeah, that's the one. Slightly confused where it was being filmed, but I was like, this is a decent mix. And I think my albums kind of found the balance of that, because also my biggest amount of listeners is America.
Interesting.
By a massive amount.
Why do you think that is?
I don't have a clue.
I mean, that's great because you get to educate so many people on the British experience.
Honestly, I have no clue how that's happened. But what's mad is it's really hard to break America. So I feel a bit lucky that that's occurred.
Yeah, no, totally. So I have a game for you. It's called Song Interrogation.
Oh, God.
I promise it's not as scary as it sounds. Going off the track list of your new album, I'm going to use the titles as jumping off points for some like silly rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Okay.
You have a song called I hate myself. What is something that you love about yourself?
Oh, dry humor. I'm extremely dry, humid, and quite sarcastic. But when you find people that it works well with, which I can sense you have that vibe. Just life becomes quite funny when everything's a bit dry. It's just like even the worst thing can happen to you, and I'm like, that was shit. And people are like, you can't say that, and I'm like, well, I have now.
I love like deadpanning. Like I love saying it the exact way I would say it if I was serious.
Yeah,
So often people think I'm like a little dumb, like because I just don't I don't think I should explain my jokes, but like
yeah.
if I say something and they're like, AJ, what? Like I'm like, I come on, you know
We
me, you
are,
know I wouldn't
we are,
ask that question.
we are exactly the same.
Okay, good. I'm glad because
Yeah,
I
I
feel like it
think.
gets lost on some people.
But sometimes the best thing is when it gets lost and then people notice and they're like, oh, oh. And it's like, yeah, I was being an idiot. Sorry.
Yeah. So you have a song called Dumb Bitch Juice, perfect transition. What are the 3 ingredients you would need to concoct dumb bitch
Oh my
juice?
gosh, I actually made a recipe for this. It's apple, strawberry, and banana, but you need to add like a little bit of like mint. The thing is, my dumb bitch juice revolves around tequila shots. And it's like a Craig David, which is double tequila shot and double shot of pineapple juice straight in, and then you don't breathe while you're drinking it. That's real dumb bitch juice. But I have fans under the age of 18 and in America under the age of
Right.
21. So I'm like apple, banana, and strawberry. So there's two different versions. There's
Yeah.
apple, banana, and strawberry because health is wealth, and
So
we
it's a
need
virgin
to
dumb bitch juice, which
it
just
it
sounds.
essentially, basically, yeah, and it's you gotta make sure your brain's in check though. I was like,
Yeah.
some days I'm here for chaos, but a lot of the days I need something for the brain stimulation to make sure I don't make dumb decisions. Because me and May get together, we have some shots, and then we're like, cool, all sense goes out the window. Everything is for the plot.
I love her. She seems like a good time.
She's so funny.
Speaking of tequila, have you been to Sava in Liverpool? It's like a bar. Next time you go, you have to go because it's a giant wall of tequila shots, 1 pound for each shot.
I'm writing that down.
It's like every flavor that Jelly Belly would have of a jelly bean, they have of a tequila shot. They
Fuck
have baked
off.
beans, they have
What?
cherry, they have cinnamon, they have watermelon, like they have marshmallow.
Are you joking?
I'm not joking. That is the perfect place to start on a night
Is
out.
it CAVA?
Yes.
I'm saving this. Oh, it's permanently closed.
Stop. No. What?
Oh God.
So sad.
It was probably too much chaos because 1 pound tequila shots of any flavor sounds like a nightmare, but a nightmare I'd like to be involved in.
It was so good. I could go out and be like, first round is on me with like 10 people, and I get everyone a round of tequila shots, and I'd get them different flavors, and I wouldn't tell them which flavors were which. So they would have to just guess when they took the shot. And I
Oh
thought it
my
was a really
God.
cool kind of.
They haven't posted since 2023.
My heart just sank.
Yeah, here's the wall of, oh my goodness, peach, blackcurrant, coconut, passion fruit, cranberry, cherry, dark chocolate, banana, coffee, baked beans, lime, apple, sour lemon. Oh, they're having a time. This sounds treacherous, and I hope they're having a massive comeback because I need to go.
Maybe this podcast will bring it.
Now, I'm now very upset. I might have to comment on their page and be like, I'm gonna comment and say, "Are you open?" Oh, I commented on my private account. Bloody hell. Well, I've commented anyways.
Oh. Okay, so you have a song called My Blood. Do you know what your blood type is?
Oh my God, no. Wait,
Because neither
I
do
should.
I. And I feel like I should know.
I feel like I should know that. I have written on my to-do list that I need to get a blood test, and I haven't done it since November. Should
Oh,
probably,
wow.
should
It
probably get
sounds
that
important.
sorted. You see, it's all this bloody touring that gets me busy.
Oh, see, yeah, we're striking out here. You don't know your blood type. I don't know your blood type. This is so sad.
I'll do my blood type and I'll let you know.
Could you imagine if I like had the answer and I was like testing you? So you have a song called Robbed. What's the last time something was stolen from you, whether physically or metaphorically?
I've never actually been robbed, and touch wood. Robbed of my sanity is when I was in my dating era.
Hmm.
Dating men is honestly one of the toughest things any woman can go through.
Was it the apps or just?
It was the apps, which is funny because I then found my boyfriend on there. I found my, so I was like, right, well, I don't know how I managed to find a sane one. And it's funny because we're both kind of going through the same thing with Hinge of, you don't get with people on first dates and this and that. And then I was like, I don't want a boyfriend. And then I met him and I was like, oh, well, actually, it's not too bad.
So you have a song called Cold Call.
Hmm.
Are you someone who hates calling out of the blue, or do you love it?
I just won't pick up if I don't want to. I am a terrible person. Yeah, I have no notifications on my phone. So I'm like, if it's an emergency, call me. It then eliminates a lot of people who message me random stuff. And then usually most of my calls I'll pick up because it will just be my team or management, and my friends know I'll eventually get back to them. But I've very rarely, I think when I was like 19, 20, I'd have the random call and then I'll literally see it pop down and just swipe it back up and carry on using my phone.
Uh-huh.
I was one of those people, which is quite mean, but
So not a cold call person.
not a cold call person. No, I kind of hate phones.
All right, so one last one. You have a song called Pocket. What percentage of the time do your outfits have pockets?
Ha! Never.
Your sweatshirt right now doesn't have a pocket?
I mean, that's a lie. How many pockets have I got now? I've got three right now. I'm in jogging bottom and a jumper. However, I'm always in mini skirts and crop tops. I tend to dress quite nude. So I tend to have little handbags. I mean, I've got a handbag right here. I like a little purse. So I tend to have no pockets apart from a handbag, or I will wear an outfit with basically no pockets. Then I have my big jacket, which has about 7 pockets on it. So I'd say 7.
All right, and that's the game. That's the episode. Congrats, you made it through. I had so much fun talking to you. I honestly could talk about the UK and talk about Britishisms for days on end.
I know. You're just gonna have to come back because we're manifesting your visa.
Yeah.
I love a manifestation. August, you're going to be back here. When you come back, we've got to hang out, or if I have any shows, you've got to come.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Yes, please.
Well, thanks so much, Rachel, for being on the show and becoming an official main pod girl. Thank you to Noah for the theme music. Noah, shout out, you're the best. And thank you to everyone who's listened this far into the episode. I really appreciate you. And if you could just rate the podcast on whatever podcast platform you're listening to on right now, that would be like totally cool. I will see everyone in the next episode next week. Peace out.